And I'm very happy that we are here today to launch a no-fee stress policy. I pray that God bless the youth of Ghana.
Yen somo efo nyina kwaba ebiom emra dwumadi so ensembebre ene koso ewo oman Ghana mo yatenasi yede ni nyina ebre ahefo na afi no yedi ho nkomo. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama enkomo bebre ene free na so ye bawa order IGP se katasheshe ena afi no ewudi a ekoso ewo 2024 general election nem no papa no enya nhwehwemu na ensembebre so ene frechi ba quick one ebewra ho eno achi SHS anasa university students John Dramani Mahama promise wo say first year students free finally wa fulfill sa promise no ama sisi ame no kasei eno nso akwakoya ni gisem wani nsem fufuro bi ni aboabo no a eba be diu nkomo na bibia aye kama baransa na no yenko na yentiensama His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of Ghana, or the two or the IGP said, also Shemu Koso, 2024 general election, no, and say, Niamabuha and Koye, Yentimra, Idun Komovia, Ebeko University for the so.
Ghana once again demonstrated its democratic resilience in the 2024 elections, culminating in a largely peaceful transfer of power. We cannot ignore that the process was marred by isolated acts of violence in some constituencies. Let me use this platform to unequivocally condemn these acts of violence and call for swift accountability for the perpetrators. I requested that the IGP expedite investigations into these acts of electoral violence and bring the perpetrators to justice. The Attorney General is also working on a report to be presented to Cabinet for adequate compensation to be paid to victims and relatives of those affected by the violence. Let me take this opportunity to commend the Electoral Commission, our security services, civil society organizations, political parties, and the electorate for their collective role in ensuring that Ghana's democratic credentials remain intact after the 2024 election. But we must go further. Our political differences must never become tools for division, mistrust, or violence. The disbandment of party vigilante groups through the passage of the Vigilantism and Related Offences Act 2019, Act 999, was a step in the right direction, and it has reduced politically motivated violence to some extent. The National Peace Council and its partners have built upon this legal framework to roll out public education campaigns, strengthen the capacity of electoral management bodies, and mobilize youth and civil society actors.
His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
Yeah.
And Sansemia Mampanidia today.
Okay.
I'm for Boma Penia Basopa.
Yeah.
But then some Brene Diachi and then some doso. It's the Ian Candy whom come away. Kitwabi Nayanko.
Right away, my meaning Kanawasi. Now, mean charge for Nafi. Yes, and I any uncommon. Right a man penny somebody today, a very good news.
Yeah.
As I said, after 2024 election, na Ghana phone na can say a Niamabia, a course wa Ankoyeno, also investigations, a toga. Na ye punishing Kufobi said a baya, a busy beam.
Na Mampani this answer me today, and I'm a Kai 2020. 2020 no dear course of 2024.
Of course.
It's yesterday and no dear. Yantian Yamubia.
In this case,
how do you
have something in our summer? It was a daily topic Ghana for discussing because Mampanian campaign or the shame say or bow making sure say election 2020 any Iowa West will go by election incidents are good see investigation better not the right things let me up to in place right or buy or share IGP or George Akufu Dam Paris on investigations but damp investigations yeah, who may be a cozy and I will hear free. But I'm expecting, say, Mampany investigation, okay, and 2024, the Anumqua, said damn parent Timanya, your Honu is in charge. But your Honu make sure, sir, 2024, the Anna Oyen, a back cover 2020, the Anno, any Iowa West will go said they be at the end of the day. ye kwa bato so biema e be hye na ni bi atirim se wonnim na obi ball pass ko di bone a ye be chew na mra ene obedi but aside that omo ye politicians na omo ye influential personalities ya omo na omo hye nkrofo ase na omo so omo ko di bone right say ye chibi na ye jeli omo mra ni omo di a every single politician bi ase or the MP or the president you e senitrim say oye mistake ya court ene ni bedi emra no e de me kwa wie prison
na we say so no say obi o evidence bi otimi de ko say ayo na mete say opposition for no ka say baby ti say kumase omo de amatwoman for omo de awudifo akogu kumase ndc for de awudifo akogu kumase say omo nkokoso ntokwa di say opposition for no so was evidence na omo timi de akọ
right I know there
na sansem no so atwa
asem ni nyina
say we mampani na aka
right mampani
so mo evidence bi dia
pepe mampani si enhwehwem every single act be a to dwa na enye until your opposition party now you have proof you have evidence to say current party na wa ban mu sa no more position no almost one crofo mo di bone in election na right just send your evidence no to Ghana Police Service na omo hwehwem at the end of the day so evidence na genuine nipa kra o ye involve bia no emra ni bedi right say yan twaso ni anye ni say anya nkakra oman enye yi right ye nyina yenim say ye call for reset say oman no se niam be change nti agrada de bae no a lot of Ghanaians omasha say din komo say oh any afide emra no eye adwuma emra no shouldn't based on individuals ya omana momo ba adunko a but top politicians oman influencing crofo ama oma di bone no eho ene wo se ma ya adwen no efo kese but aside that mampani common there was one thing not me interested wo hopa
okay
obi nka bi nhim abato ne yakoto ni to akuno right a den ne wo ho masa ni pan na busuafo obi akodi dem I was impressed mampani can say what task mpanifu a omaye no adwuma enche the necessary compensation yenim say bibia ni wiase asabi ebetima replace ni pa life
ena sanya man ketenkete no nipa lose interest e voting mu because at the end of the day me koko vote a oman no nipa bebresi omo hwere hu mpunto bia wo mo mpotem obekwa ko vote no asakwa ko hia wo nkwanhia
and yet na fie dwene ho right into this are safety measures ya also ban e put in place into there enye nsiye no aban should prevent it but the esi atwa me there right no kra nya me ma wansene ni hwe kra no oposa ne nsem at least omo a affect woman no mabusuafo no aban ne empe a proper compensation nipa na fimu de at least compensation e be ya rechekere kakra e de ama no enye se bia ye kwa kofa 10,000 Ghana bi 5,000 Ghana bi right it should be something ahoka mfa ne se ahomeka ewo owo mpo awoma se ye be ma busua ne bibia ne man mpo should be given scholarships ya e be hwom kopim se omo benya adwumaye this are certain things ya democracy kakra interest ebesan so abem
okay commander yentu frana enko this video emra his excellency John Dramani Mahama wasanso akasa biem na akasa we no na anije dietche university students no first year students no womani age papa na ebi mo kase eze we no opposition for na eka che Ghana for say first year students John Dramani Mahama ka say what the better woman no afi wo matua but first year students they say ya sanso reverse wo musika mo to dia yenya bu trenten sama mampani di tuda ekoba enchemu ni nyina wa ha.
No, but thank you very much all of you. I think today is a very pleasant day to celebrate, and I must tell you that this initiative was born out of the real lives of some people that we had seen. There is a girl who received admission to the University of Development Studies, and her story was carried by the social media. I'm sure several of you would have seen it. She was sitting by her mother and they were roasting plantain, and apparently this girl had qualified for medicine in the University of Development Studies, but her mother didn't have the money to pay the academic fees for her to register. And so she had to sit by her mother to roast the plantain, hoping that they'll be able to raise enough money. We looked out for her, we found her and found her mother, and so we took her to the university. We paid the academic fees for her, and we not only paid the academic fees for her, we asked UDS to give us her fees for the whole course, and they gave it to us. And we paid her fees until she finishes university. So that was one of the stories that moved us to put into the manifesto the no fee stress policy. The second was a brilliant young man who had qualified to do engineering in the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Tech. And again, there was a story in the social media of him going to the farm. School had opened, he had not gone to register because his family had not yet harvested their crops to sell and be able to raise the money for him to go. So again, we had to intervene and sort out the academic fees for the young man to go to school. So we realized that these are not isolated stories. These are real stories of people. We have free compulsory universal basic education in Ghana. And then we have introduced the free SHS program. So most parents do not pay anything for the education of their children until they finish senior high school. Then suddenly they are hit with the shock of having to cough up significant amounts of money to be able to put their children through tertiary education. And so we said, at least for the first year, give the child the opportunity to enter the institution without stress and get the opportunity to register onto the student loan trust and apply for support to pay subsequent fees. So that was the thinking that went into the no fees stress policy. And I'm very happy that we are here today to launch it. I was watching on the social media and I saw students dancing and jumping. Some wanted to jump from upstairs. And the person who sent me the video, I said, why, what's wrong with these students? And he said, so they just got alerts for their no fee stress money. And so all of you who haven't applied, especially in the colleges of education, some people in colleges of education think that they are not part of it. All of you in the colleges of education, in nursing training colleges, in the public, all the other public tertiary institutions, you qualify for the no fee stress policy. And so now it gives me immense joy to join you here today in Koforidua, a city steeped in learning and leadership, to launch an initiative that speaks directly to the heart of our national aspirations: the right of every Ghanaian child to access tertiary education, regardless of family income, social background, or place of birth. Today we launch the no fee stress policy, a bold, equity-driven intervention designed to remove financial barriers to entry into public tertiary institutions. Beginning this academic year, the state will cover the academic-related fees of all first-year students admitted in our public universities, colleges of education, technical universities, and nursing training institutions, who in many cases would otherwise have had to forego their dreams for lack of funds. This policy is more than a budgetary item. It is a moral, constitutional, and developmental initiative. Far too many of our young people have worked hard to pass their exams and earn a place in our tertiary institutions, only to be turned away because their families cannot afford the upfront academic fees that have to be paid. Let the numbers speak for themselves. In 2022-2023 academic year, over 150,000 students were admitted to public tertiary institutions. Yet a significant number of thousands could not take up these admissions due to the inability to pay the academic-related fees. Data from the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission reveals that many more have had to defer or drop out of their programs each year for this very reason. A student in a college of education, for instance, receives a monthly allowance of 200 cedis, in the 2024-25 academic year, but was expected to pay 1,362 Ghana cedis as admission fees. In nursing colleges, the fees were even higher. Receiving the same 200 cedis a month, they were required to pay 2,340 Ghana cedis as admission fees. The annual student loan of 2,550 cedis falls far short in covering university academic related fees, which in some cases are as high as 8,000 cedis. And the tragedy is that they are required to pay these fees when they have not yet had the opportunity to register for the student loan scheme. These are not just statistics. Behind each number I mentioned is a face and a dream deferred. Tertiary education is not just about a certificate. It is the engine that powers a modern society. It is the engine that creates teachers, doctors, engineers, scientists, entrepreneurs, and public servants. It spurs innovation, it deepens civic responsibility, and fosters national identity. According to the World Bank, every additional year of tertiary education increases an individual's earning by up to 17% in developing countries. And yet, according to the 2021 Population and Housing Census of Ghana, only 18% of Ghanaians aged 18 and above have completed tertiary education. This means over 80% of our adult population lacks post-secondary qualification. In a nation that is striving to build a resilient, knowledge-driven economy, this gap is one we cannot afford to maintain. The no-fee stress policy has been designed with deliberate inclusivity and scalability. Its key components include the no academic fees policy. Under this policy, the government will cover the academic-related fees for all first-year students admitted to public tertiary institutions. Then the second of the no-fee stress policy is the Student Loan Plus initiative. This is a restructured financing model that provides enhanced support for continuing students with expanded eligibility and simplified access. And as you were just informed, next year, the money allocated to the student loan scheme is going to be doubled. And so you will also expect a doubling of your student loan. Then we also have the free tertiary education for persons with disability. To ensure full inclusion and compliance with our obligations under the Disability Act, all persons with disability shall have free tertiary education from first year until they complete. And as I told you already, there will be increased student loan amounts which will reflect the real cost of tertiary education, and it will be adjusted annually for inflation. We also have diversified student funding mechanism, including targeted scholarships for underrepresented communities and disciplines that are vital to our national development. In addition, students in fee-paying programs without regular track equivalents will receive a reimbursement of up to 2,500 cedis for their academic fees. Ladies and gentlemen, this policy is complementary, it's not substitutionary. It does not replace existing allowances and loans, but it lightens the heaviest burden, that is the cost of entry, that keeps thousands of brilliant students outside the gates of institutions like this. This policy is not about welfare, it is about fairness. It is about restoring dignity to the Ghanaian student. It is about affirming that the right to education is not a privilege for only the wealthy, but it's a shared national inheritance. Education is the grand equalizer. It bridges the gap between where a child is born and what the child can become. This policy ensures that geographical location, gender, disability, or socio-economic background will no longer determine who can sit in a university lecture hall. Across the world, countries are embracing the value of publicly supported tertiary education. In Germany, public universities charge no tuition fees, not even for most international students. In Norway, Finland, and Scotland, all these countries have adopted similar models, recognizing that education is not a cost to be feared, but it is an investment to be protected. These countries have, as a result, developed highly skilled populations, reduced youth unemployment, and increased social mobility and enhanced civic engagement. Ghana must not be left behind. We must prioritize our people's intellectual capital as our greatest asset. Let me use this occasion to call upon all our stakeholders. To my students, this opportunity is yours to seize. Focus, excel, and commit yourselves to serving your nation, Ghana. To our tertiary institutions, implement this policy with transparency, compassion, and excellence, and let us make this a model of effective public delivery. To the private sector and our development partners, I invite you to co-invest in this future through endowment funds, bursary schemes, and public-private financing models that extend the reach and sustainability of this initiative. Let us work together to raise a generation of Ghanaians who are confident, skilled, and ready to build a prosperous and united nation. Mr. Chairman, as we were told, 150,000 students have so far accessed the portal. And for those of you who have not accessed the portal, you better start doing so now. Out of this, 34,500 have been validated and are awaiting payment. And out of that number, as at yesterday, 15,000 students had received their alerts for payment. This is just the beginning. And today, with our student educators, parents, and development partners, I'm pleased to declare the no-fee stress policy officially launched. Let it be known across this land that from today, no Ghanaian child will be denied entry into tertiary education simply because they cannot afford the academic fees. This is a path to a more just society. This is how to build a future where no dream is deferred and no potential is wasted. And I'm pleased to inform you that we're also working on your trainee allowances. And soon, you will start receiving alerts for your trainee allowances too. This time, we're structuring it in a way where you will receive it monthly. And so, the accountant... You let me finish. The Accountant General's Department is going to be responsible for it. So anytime they load salaries for your fathers, your parents who are working, they will load your trainee allowances too onto your phones. In conclusion, in launching this initiative, we also fulfill our constitutional mandate under Article 38(3) of the 1992 Constitution, which enjoins the state to provide equal access to university or equivalent education to all Ghanaians. We are building a Ghana where opportunity is not inherited but created, a Ghana where education is not rationed by class or by cash, but granted by merit and upheld by the collective will of our people. And so I pray that God bless the youth of Ghana, may God bless our institutions, and may God bless our homeland Ghana.
Okay, Commander.
Yeah, Director.
And sir, energy abafie.
Yeah.
University students no woman ya jepa.
I know correct.
And even one SHS wo mo ba be wie school no and say ye be ko university ni free to say no e was say wo ba bi wo faase bi na admission onya sika de betua kwa ka che no say John Dramani Mahama say no why ni free but then ori share gu akwam from level 200 e ko no so share gu akwam mu a obetumi afaso na ehiafo nyina nya university akọ uza enkane no na university de ne ko den
rata
me kai me sister Penny me kwa akoto no dan bia no osu nyina na se watwa opeso ko university but sika wo hefa ne de ne ko nti me kwa akoto no dan bia na osu otiase tinkane na nkokọ fala
ke be ko ani nwura rata we de nse a very good news na obehwa we eye boshe ba ko amampani hyeye no na nkrofo kasa sa boshe we ye krokro de dwa enya de a obetima diso
ana omote NDC take over no kwa no na amanfo kase nkanka opposition fo no omosi mampani adada Ghana fo wadada youth no se obemo ma level 100 free nanso ase adi
o matua fees na adwi nti espake a lot of controversies na de man common ye den say but sa obehwa sa situation bi a e kai me asem bi esimre bi atwam but obeka amampani in the first time wabra olusu ye no and odi nkomo bi say opese ye progressive free education e Ghana na enye free senior high school nkwa say SHS na nado any free nkwada bi because a former president Kofo and ye basic level ni free into so say yenye no progressive nkakra na enkodu tertiary level no said ye baya obi a enho beto no na se wutie nkoma amampani ni ye di a erata obi anim said ye ahokyeresitie say all of a sudden ye ka se oba ekọ university or nursing training teacher training erata na okwa kotua school fees admission fees na chi no oba betwa fees ya nipa no o baby a okwa kotena sa dormitory hostel fees erata o the hostel fees eba be ka aduane a obedi ene niam a obeto ho a lot of awofo enya de omubetumi enti in this case na ye bedi enyina enim te se de wo ka no obi wo ha wa apply ye be fa no but ontumi nko mampani cite examples rata ene ye a bit relief na ye woni da so say anye bia ne se o kwa tuition fee ene a lot of fees a free enti at least half of sika ne o si utwa no aban ne tua ma
obi ani age
na omo call this year ya na mampani nyamfa budget enkopie mo parliament no right God been so good mampani a refund this tuition fee ni other fees ya no fee stress no e cover no we share the amount wo a this time omo sika ni wo mu botom but they can prepare for next academic fees also mutua no na omo dia support to
omo ni age pa o
right
omo bose o
right school for no be bose right me hu one video bi a asa a school for my nessa no I was sure and the ma de ne de say but when in your university for no kwa but aside university for no nursing training teacher training for ni nyina aka ho bi and mampani say allowances na teacher training nursing training for gino ontwa allowances ni mo
and the kakra ontwam
but san community din common to that but say o kan eneya na manfo say alawan one ontimi ntua oba obetwam right alawan wa maintain ontwam school fees na o kan say oba obetua de amom no o twa school fees de amom alawan is still there and mampani aputu a proper measure in place here say okokowura mu in your first year na ban ni twa fees ni bi ma wi a second year no omo free hin na eba right eno na mampani na dwene ho say and yet society a for student trust loan no ya ban ni nkopesi kakase mehiem to make sure say school ni na first year aban aboa no second year oni mua bia obabi aban di sikada ho a aban yi twa dia ma no obede na otumi akọ right until loan emfra aban ho onfan tua fees ohia aban ne be ma na because aban nim say school ni we demeka and we are talking about 24-hour economy you say private investors they may invest omo ma bia nyuma omo be bia nyuma nkrofo a wo so mo acquire knowledge no omunya suahunu ni nimde no mde koye adwuma ho no omu gintete osuapom sika be no de ko gintete no but these are some of the reasons here say aban biba na on support aban no mpo na oye right na as a country they also you rally behind sa aban no na you support no na oman ni yeyi but ade ba ko ni mampani nkoma woni yedi me baby amadwen ni nyina akwako gina eye baby ba ko pe but on disable for no enipa omadi demanase chematowo omo hono rota emre bi atwam na omu twa school fees no metima enter in tertiary education
say ade na sa kwese promises nso a anase campaign na MPP for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia no ye no 2024 no asandisi for nso ye sa ade ni nyina ho
right as say
pa se Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia MPP for de ne bebe sa ba die campaign bi no se be ye
right as say
gold for oil yi NDC for the gold border ba
o ma cancel
akata so na sa free university so
I know say o ma cancel
and disabled for na Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia kapa
say o ma cancel no
asem
right it is all study terry nima you will know say a lot of things because Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia so a financial expert finances no o kan obi ase oh enyo no na oye main man no it is obe main man obe nie this seven year say in terms of financial management no NDC is managing it better than their MPP for managing in their previous government.
Almost say ashas you do nya but.
Right say and then so there na here because ye nim the basic china. Ebi mpo ebedru china no. No massa managing it better than this because in January so we saw MPP for say June sign our minor economy ni besi atie. Sign a dollar rate ni be kwa kodura. Right MPP ni bia no no be ka kire say NDC betimi ama dollar rate na perform ta. Until we should accept it say aha na omo dia ba bedru. Baby ye jana ni baby ye gusu kwai se bibi ansesa na semfofo asem anwaso obi ama mesia the writer ene omo de be ko far more than baby omo de aba beduri omo be ye adwuma no aye ni ye but me concern ni the writer after say a school for no eco university omo ko tertiary institution no the writer courses na ye no omo wie school na adwuma na also be a lot of courses ehun adwuma ni kurum ha the writer nkrofo bebre ko universities ekoye management omo ba be CEO ni ade. How many companies in the Ghana here CEOs? But these are certain things here. Education curriculum. No? I expect the government to say, obey a lot of work on it. Abaning ye juma be home. Na TVET technical for no. But I technical aspect no. Emura yen universities ni more. Said ye beya at the end of the day, Nippon University. Wa quite certain knowledge be ye yan way society no. E one juma or what that obaya oba be ye juma. Right, we are expecting say abana shas say no ye nyina e be cooperative very well na ade na kwakama ye mpenso say bedru ba bi no ubon say obi take advantage of the situation na fe sika no clophobic na so empenisa right school for so they should do well and register na obi ansan kan sika e mama mpani abaso e very good we there obi say oka obeye or try say the boss ni nyina obi di so
yam fancy enti akosi nyina ne say His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will fulfill one of the promises of promising year 2024 no and say finally mampania diso enti eno so no ye mona baso ye ko e be sa ba biem yakra ifo nyina